in tonight. This is the first of several public information sessions that we'll host about the proposed senior center project. Ellen is going to be my assistant this evening with the slides. So next slide. There we go. As some of you may be aware, this is a multi-year effort that began all the way back in 2017 with the need for a senior center being put on the master plan, as well as an early feasibility study, identifying it as a priority and designing an initial senior center at just about 12,000 square feet. That initial effort came to a close in 2020 when a motion to purchase property at West Main Street was tabled in light of concerns about the site, and I think in general that was the beginning of the pandemic as well. So due to a couple of factors, that effort came to a close. Then in 2023, there was briefly a period of time where Parks and Rec and the Council on Aging thought that they might collaborate together for a community center. That effort came fairly swiftly to a close due to concerns about the location. So in 2023, the fall of 2023, 2 years ago, began our current effort to build a senior center. So over that period of time, we have worked and looked diligently at a number of sites, in fact, all 54 town-owned sites, as well as private land in town, and landed on our current proposal to build a senior center on Bishop Road. Next slide. All right, so Ayer, like much of the country, is aging. 25% of people in Ayer are over the age of 60. If we take the school kids out of that and we look just at adults, voting age adults, 40% of Ayer is over the age of 60. The town, as well as the rest of the country, the town is aging. And so these are UMass statistics, population projections. What you'll see is a dramatic growth in the 60-plus population, while also seeing a decline in the school age population. And this is expected to continue until 2060. So it's a real shift in our town and something that needs to be addressed with the appropriate facilities and services. Next slide. How many of you have been to the Ayer Senior Center before? Fair amount of you. How many of you have been to another senior center someplace else? Okay, all right, so most of the audience is fairly familiar with what a senior center is. It is a vital community resource that helps older adults stay independent, healthy, and aging in place through a variety of offerings, including fitness and exercise programs, low-cost meals, social and intellectual engagement opportunities, health education and screening, as well as programs that combat the negative effects of isolation and depression and loneliness. And we also provide transportation and social services, benefits, counseling, things like that. Next slide. The current senior center is inadequate. So for those of you that have been down there, you know that it is very small. We are located in 1,700 square feet in the basement of the Ayer Housing Authority. We are not able to accommodate all of the seniors that need or want to use the existing facility. It's very difficult to accommodate walkers and wheelchairs. Not all of our users need those, but when they do, it's very difficult. We can't hold any concurrent programs, largely because we have 2 rooms and 13 parking spaces. So even if I did plan a program in both rooms at the same time, there's not enough space to park the cars to go. The overflow parking is down the hill at Peroni Park, so you have to walk the equivalent of 2 football fields back up the hill to the senior center. It's just not tenable, especially for people with mobility issues. So therefore, as a result, we can't offer the variety of programs and services that people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s would want to see. Because we don't have a commercial kitchen, we're not able to prepare healthy meals on site at a reduced cost. Right now, we're bringing in catered restaurant meals at a significantly higher cost than would be necessary if we had a commercial kitchen. There's no privacy in the space at all. My office looks like this area behind you, where they're just sort of half partial homes so you can hear everything in the space. So there's no privacy for the town nurse visits, Medicare counseling, AARP tax prep, or any kind of private conversation with staff members. And we're also not able to comply with ADA requirements. And we prepared, you guys are going to get to see hot off the presses, the first draft, this is what they call in film a rough cut, of the senior center current conditions.
Emmy Awards last night.
Yeah, no Emmy Awards for this one. So we're going to continue working on it for the next one, but we wanted to give you a sneak peek. Go ahead, Ellen. I think it'll start playing on its own. Yep. Maybe not. You just tap any place on the screen. On the screen. Oh, maybe. Oh, no. Sorry.
Across America, senior centers connect older adults to friends, services, and a sense of belonging. In Ayer, where 25% of residents and 40% of adults are over 60, dedicated staff and volunteers make the most of a tiny space to keep people active and engaged. The Ayer Senior Center occupies just 1,700 square feet in the basement of senior housing. The senior center has only a handful of parking spaces. The steep hill up from the overflow parking lot at Peroni Park makes access difficult, especially for those with mobility issues. Bathrooms near the entrance are not ADA compliant. Volunteers at the front desk welcome guests, sign them in, and arrange transportation. A small sitting area acts as a waiting room and a lounge. While the dining room holds 24 older adults for daily lunches, special events can bring in up to 50 people, creating space and safety concerns. Afterwards, these same tables transform into classrooms and meeting spaces for crafts, speakers, and other events. Morning programs must be completed in time for lunch, for space and sound purposes. Without a commercial kitchen, meals must be prepared elsewhere and reheated here. Catering is brought in at an increased cost compared to what meals would cost if prepared on-site. Staff offices are cramped and lack privacy. The nurses' clinic, Medicare counseling, and other services occur in areas with no privacy and frequent interruptions. A neighboring room, borrowed from senior housing, is available for senior center activities, though housing events take priority. To promote complete health of older adults, senior centers offer mindful activities like arts, crafts, and technology workshops, along with physical activities such as Tai Chi and yoga, and social activities like bingo and knitting. These activities keep minds and bodies active and forge lasting friendships. There is so much more that can be offered, but the small space is limiting. A new two-story, 13,000 square foot senior center is proposed for Bishop Road. The concept includes several flexible programming spaces, a commercial kitchen, and relaxing lounge spaces to serve the wide needs and interests of Ayer's older adults now and into the future. The design prioritizes fall prevention, accessibility for mobility and vision impaired individuals, comfortable furniture, noise reduction, and fitness equipment for safety and inclusivity. The proposed project is a significant investment, but the building committee and town leaders are working hard to secure grants and reduce expense to taxpayers. Residents will vote on the project at the fall town meeting on October 27th, followed by a ballot on November 4th. Your voice matters. Join the discussion and spread the word about a new senior center for Ayer.
Thanks to Kyle Lenores for putting that together for us. Next slide.
Across America, senior centers connect older adults to friends, services, and a sense of belonging. In Ayer, where 20...
Okay, all right. So a modern senior center would address all of these concerns. There would be a multitude of spaces for exercise, social, wellness, and educational programs, a commercial kitchen, as well as outdoor space for gathering, gardening, and fitness, confidential office space for staff and for families to meet as well, adequate parking and accessibility for everyone, It has benefits to the community as well, including a heating and cooling station, should there be a large power outage in town, as well as providing space after hours for when the senior center is not open for community groups and organizations to rent the space. What we're really aiming for is a comfortable and accommodating place for all older adults to be able to gather to reduce the impact of loneliness and isolation, and to be able to meet, as I said before, the needs of different older adults at their different stages of aging. Next slide. This is a specially designed building for older adults. It keeps a number of the common hazards for older adults in mind. So for example, it's designed with fall prevention in mind. There are no curbs around the entrance to the building. There is injury prevention flooring. The selection of the floor and the subfloor, as well as the materials for the outdoor patios, are designed so that they are less likely to have a bone break if you were to fall. There's no step overs. I mean, I have many people like, you gotta swing your leg over to get on the bike, on an exercise bike. There are no step throughs. Everything is, zero limit for the fitness equipment. And the furniture is designed, I don't know if anybody tried to move any of these chairs. These chairs are quite heavy. The chairs are designed for older adults to be able to move around easily and quickly, and yet still have arm rests for people who need them. It is friendly, it's designed for the least mobile person, though designed to be enjoyed by everyone. The hub and spoke model, sort of when the idea, and I feel like that example is relevant for most people in the room. So when you walk in the center, and then everything that you would like to do is immediately in front of you. There are no long hallways to walk down, which if you're someone who requires a mobility aid, that can sometimes be a deterrent. You might be late by the time you get down the hallway, you might be tired, you might have broken sweat getting there. So again, it's designed to be enjoyed by everyone, but subtly designed to be comfortable for the least mobile person. In terms of, there's also low-rise, adult-friendly stairs. They have a 6-inch rise. You have 7 or potentially 8 in your home. If you live in a historic home, you might have a 9-inch riser. That would be a very tall stair. And there's, of course, an elevator to go to the second floor. One thing I've heard people ask is, why do we choose to put in a second floor? And again, it comes back to that hub and spoke model. So you can see the elevator right there when you come in the door. And so everything you'd like to do on the first floor is right in front of you, including getting on the elevator to go to the second floor. And then the same thing. Everything that you'd like to do is within visual range from there. So it is the most compact design. It's also the most efficient in terms of fiscally efficient as well. In terms of being friendly for those with hearing impairments, the large multi-purpose room will have a hearing loop in it. So let's say, imagine a room like this where if someone is wearing a hearing aid, 90% of hearing aids have a little dial you can turn to a frequency, where I could just be wearing a lapel mic with one speaker up here. But the sound would be on the same frequency as that hearing aid, and so the sound from my lapel mic would be going directly into your hearing aid. So there's no reason to boom the audio out you know how sometimes you go to a movie and it's too loud? There's no need to do that. So there's also noise reducing ceilings on the first floor, as well as sound absorbing panels, because as we get older, blocking out that background noise becomes harder and harder. So this allows you to focus on the conversation right in front of you and not be distracted or by any of the other noise. As well as the building will be low vision friendly. So there's, it's positioned on the site to get the best of the natural light, as well as having 2 forms of light in each room, because as we get older, vision, the adjustment is not the same as it used to be. Sometimes people have vision issues and they can benefit from different types of light, as well as the floors are wayfinding floors. It's something you would never notice unless I pointed out to you, but if you have low vision, and you can see the contrast between dark and light, you can know that the darker portions are always going to point towards the door. So it's a way to find, it's a way to assist in a subtle way our mobility or our vision impaired users. All right, next slide. All right, just a couple of quotes. So Barbara says, the senior center is the place to be. The socialization is a big benefit for me. We love to mingle and have fun here. It's a place that brings people together. I think a lot of people would share that sentiment, and we love having her with it. Russell said, a little over a year ago, I lost my wife of 54 years. So I came here and I spoke with the director, that's me, and she said, we have lunch here. Why don't you join us? So I did, and it was terrific. There are a lot of people here who are all friendly, nice, and open. It's another landing space when you're tired of being home alone on a lot of days. So I come here and have a cup of coffee and read the paper. And I do find that there's a lot of different reasons that people start coming to a senior center, but once they're here, they tend to love it, and we just want to be able to provide that opportunity for more residents in town. Next slide. All right, Wendy said the lunches are amazing. I don't drive anymore, but I can come to the senior center to eat. We could use a larger space because at the holidays, there are a lot of people without family and it's packed in here. Otherwise, I don't have anyone to spend the holidays with. And that is something I really enjoy about my job, is being able to make the holidays special for people who may or may not have a lot of loved ones in the area. Last but not least, Tamara said, the site of the new building is lovely. It's off the road, open, and you can sit outside in summer. If people want to move to Ayer, that could be a great incentive to make them move here. Everyone will be a senior one day. Let's hope anyways. Let's give them something to look forward to. I'm 76 and my kids are in their 50s. They'll be the people who are really going to use it. They're not there yet, but when they get there, I believe they're going to be very happy that they have something that we left to them, which I think is also a very nice sentiment to think about who will use it after us as well. So this is the same as you can see around here on the easels in the back. This is the design for the first floor. The building as a whole is 13,000 square feet on both floors. When you come in from the top, you'll see all of the areas in red are programming areas. There's a little bit of space for the staff here. These are restrooms and the commercial kitchen here. Next slide. Let's see. Yeah, there's a coffee bar and a cafe for when you first come in. That's the loud, boisterous, sort of how you been, hanging out kind of space. When you come around the side, there's a quieter lounge reading area with a fireplace. And the large multi-purpose room is a big space that most of the time will be divided into two. It will have seating for 40 or 50 people for lunch on one side and exercise space on the other. But when we want to open it for big gatherings, like at the holidays, or if we partner with the library, for example, to bring in a really cool musical or theater act, we can open that room up and seat up to 150 at tables for lunch, which I think is just an excellent flexible use of the space. As well as the commercial kitchen, of course. It will have ADA compliant restrooms, staff space, a medical equipment lending area, as well as outdoor patio space and walking space around the building. Next slide. All right. So then on the second floor is not a full second floor, it's a partial second floor. And so upstairs you have in the middle a game area that is flexible for card and game tables, or we could put billiards tables up there, depending on what people like. There is a fitness room with not only cardio equipment, but weight machines, free weights, stretching, all of those things, as well as 2 activity rooms. And this one is dividable as well. This one's not as big as the one downstairs, of course, but this one's also dividable. And a private wellness area. So let's see, did I miss anything? More restrooms upstairs, accessible by the elevator. cards and games, fitness, arts and crafts, smaller spaces, like that room that can be divided, smaller spaces like, let's say, a book club or a current events group or a very niche craft class, smaller group, so there's no need to have a big group. Even if it's just a handful of people, we'll have space and the appropriate room for those things, as well as a private wellness coaching area. So what's included in that is like the Shine Medicare counselor, AARP tax prep, podiatry, Reiki, massage, any of the individual health services can happen in that wellness space. Next slide. All right, there's a couple of pictures here. These are just renderings of what the architect has given us. This is what the outside of the building would look like. Here's the top left is the large multi-purpose room. You can see part of it has a vaulted ceiling and part of it does not. So that gives you an idea of where that partition could come across, where it would be set up for lunch as well as for fitness. Down here this is when you first come in the door, a couple of tables and chairs for that coffee cafe area, looking into the downstairs activity room. Over here is another view of that space. And then on the bottom right-hand corner here, you can see the lounge space with a fireplace. So cozy, comfortable, with upholstered furniture for a little bit quieter conversation or just reading the paper. Next slide. All right, so the big question at hand, what will this cost and how are we going to pay for it? So the total project cost comes to $15.1 million, and then I'm going to show you how we walk that number down. So we already have some funding in place between the Housing Choice Grant, ARPA funds, and a legislative earmark that was secured from Representative Senna, which brings us in UDAG funds, which those UDAG funds were left over from a previous, they were left over from the West Main Street project. So that brings us down to $14.7 million. And then there is a proposal to put $2 million of capital stabilization. That is subject to a vote at town meeting. So the vote would be to approve the senior center project, followed immediately by a warrant to allocate the capital stabilization, as well as $1 million from the UDAG funds, which is controlled by the select board. That would bring us down to $11.7 million. And then we propose the town borrow $10 million as the debt exclusion. That is also subject to town meeting and ballot approval. There are 2 votes there that are required, town meeting and ballot. That brings us down to $1.7 million. And we anticipate closing that gap, finishing to pay for the building with a $1.3 million CDBG grant. That is a high probability. There are never any guarantees with grants, but that has a funding line dedicated to senior centers, and that is a high probability grant. We haven't applied for it yet because you have to have town meeting approval first. So it is a requirement of the grant that it's already gone through that process. We have submitted for a second Housing Choice Grant for $500,000 to cover the cost of bringing water to the site. There are no utilities currently on Bishop Road at all. So we'll find out in October whether we get that, as well as a fundraising goal for private fundraising and donations. And if anyone didn't stop in and see the Friends of the Ayer Seniors at the back of the room, they are heading up the fundraising efforts, and they have received $62,000 in pledges so far, and we expect that to really get going after town meeting. So if all of those things come through as planned, that's actually a little bit more money than we needed. That would be a $283,000 surplus. So there is a plan in place. It has plenty of breathing room in it. All right, next slide. So the taxpayers' $10 million part, what does that look like for you? So again, the total project cost is $15.1 million. The way the state requires is that the warrant article at town meeting and on the ballot will read the $15.1 million, because that is the total project cost. That's just the rules. So based on the current residential tax rate of $11.96 per thousand and the average residential home value of $550,000, that's the assessed value. So that is the average. If we were to borrow 10 million over the 25 years, that is $143 per year for the average household in town. And that is something that works out to, if you divide it by 365, that's about 40 cents a day. And it is a decreasing, that's the right word, decreasing bond. And so for the first 3 or so years, it will be $143. And then it will steadily go down, the payment over the years, over the 25 years. Now, again, because of the way the state fiscal rules are, they do have to present the 15.1, the full 15.1 million. So I will tell you, if everything went wrong in the plan and you guys approved the project, but then didn't approve the $2 million in capital stabilization, don't see that happening, but let's say it did, in a worst case scenario, and we got none of the grants and no fundraising, if the whole thing was bonded, it would be $214 a year. Again, I'm putting that up there because I want to be transparent in case everything went wrong, but again, the goal is to bond just the $10 million and $143 a year. After we would bond for the senior center project, the town still has a borrowing capacity of $56.5 million. There is still plenty of borrowing capacity for the town for its other capital needs. Next slide. All right. So in terms of next steps, tomorrow night at the select board meeting, they are going to decide whether or not this project should go forward to the fall town meeting. So if anyone has strong feelings about whether they would like that to happen, hopefully yes, then please make sure to come to the select board meeting or let the select board know that you'd like to see this on the fall town warrant. And then after that, the building committee will start doing what we're doing tonight, which is doing public outreach sessions. We have this one tonight, one on Saturday at the senior center, as well as 2 in October. So provided that the select board is on board for moving the project forward, then that's, there'll be townwide mailers, senior, older adult specific mailers, as well as the Friends of the Ayer Seniors have some promotional items in mind as well. And then at the town meeting on October 27th, and again at the election on November 4th, you, the residents of Ayer, get to decide whether you would like to see this senior center in the town of Ayer. And if you want to learn more, everyone should have a 4-page brochure on their chair, but if you'd like to learn more, you can visit ayerseniorcenter.com. So let's see, that's pretty much it for the presentation tonight. I'm going to open it up. Any questions? Yes?
This proceeds as you've outlined for it. When would the bidding process start going out to contractors?
So the question is, when would this process start? So assuming that on November 4th it passes, or that we find out on the 5th that it passed, then we would immediately begin design development. So we've gone through feasibility study and schematic design. It'll take, I believe, 3 to 4 months to do the design development. So that would put us into early spring bidding. Yes?
I have a couple of questions. I remember going to an informational session at the library some months ago, and I was just wondering if how the current floor plan differs, or is it the same as what you talked about then?
Yeah, so the main difference is the iterations we've gone through, we have removed about 10% of the square feet so far, and at this point, we're feeling like we can just scale down the building as it is. I think if we were to have to change it any more dramatically, I'm not answering this very well, but if we had to, if it had needed to get a whole lot smaller, we'd have to change the layout. But for right now, we can kind of shrink and still keep the same rooms.
Okay.
And we did not change the size of the large multi-purpose room because we felt that was the most important room to keep flexible for now and into the future.
Okay. So based on what you just said, I have no idea how big 13,000 square feet
Right,
is.
right.
So compared to the room, can you compare it at all to the room we're in as far as, is it similar, bigger? And I'm just talking about the floor, the rectangle of the
Right.
floor.
I actually am not sure how large this room is. And it's hard to tell because this room has the stage. So I would say, are you doing calculation, Ken?
40 by 60 maybe.
Okay, so the large multi-purpose room might be slightly larger than this room. Because keep in mind, the thing to keep in mind is you have tables and chairs in here. And when you have people using walkers and wheelchairs, you can't cram, I know it, like if I look at these, the way the rows are here, if you had people using walkers, what?
This to me looks like about 40, I'm just saying, like from there to the middle. It's like
Maybe I
20.
can ask it a different way. I'm sorry to
I think
interrupt.
this is about 40 by 60, that's 2,400 square.
Okay, so,
What
so
about-
the big multi-purpose room would be about the size of this room then. And the idea is that you have tables and chairs and you have enough space for walkers and wheelchairs to navigate them. So as compared to when you might go into a very crowded restaurant where the tables are right next to each other, we can't do that in a senior center. We have to have a little bit more elbow room in order to accommodate the same number of people.
Can I ask the question slightly differently?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with roughly the layout of the Groton Senior Center.
Okay.
How does it compare as far
So I
as?
think the Groton Senior Center is around 11,000 square
Okay.
feet. So I don't know that the average person would even notice the difference between 11,000 and 13,000, but it's,
Okay.
you know, roughly.
The multi-purpose room is not as big as the multi-purpose room.
Okay. Ken is clarifying that our multi-purpose room will be larger than theirs.
And the petition is still.
Yeah. Okay. Great questions.
On the point of,
Sorry, if I could just add on the point of Groton, it's instructive to know that, I don't know how old Groton was, maybe 10 years now. Something like that,
Somewhere around there.
5 years old. They're now seeing it space constrained.
Yeah, I know.
They consider it too small to meet their needs.
I remember you saying that in class.
Yep.
So my last question, I'm sorry, I think I understand the breakdown of the money to a certain extent. Has any money already been spent? I guess on plans
Yes.
and things like that.
Can you go back to the one with the arrows? There we go. All right, so we have already spent $377,000. So that is the money, everything up here, except for the legislative earmark, because that just became available. So that's what funded the feasibility study, the schematic design. It also funded all of the work that we needed to do preliminarily to make sure the soils were okay out there to build on, to get estimates for utilities, things like that. So that has all been essentially grant funded. The Housing Choice Grant, the ARPA grant, and then this money, actually, so 360 has been spent. This 17 has not been spent yet. It's really gotten us to a point, we haven't spent any local tax dollars to date, but has gotten us to a place where we can really feel confident about the site and the concept to date.
Thank you.
Could you comment the budget? I think the second part of the question might involve the budget. When we first went out to the town, I think we were looking at 16.6.
Oh, was that, I'm sorry, did I miss part of your question?
No,
Your question?
I didn't ask anything else.
She asked about the changes, I think the changes.
Oh, yeah, we've made two sets of reductions now to both the size and the cost of the building. And that is, that's to be expected. We wanted to really get it to a place that we thought voters could feel comfortable with, and try to make as many reductions and efficiencies as possible. And it's something we'll continue to do as we go along the process. Yep. Other questions?
There's a question with regards to the expenses. From what I understand, it's really not, from what I've heard, is that getting utilities down on that road is really going to be a major cost.
Right, and that's included in this cost. So in that cost of the 15.1 million, we have $1 million set aside for bringing utilities down for electric, water, Comcast, yeah, and so there'll be on-site waste management. But yeah, so that's built in. That won't be an additional cost. That's built in, and that is certainly, there's been a lot of savings in that we're using town-owned land. That is a considerable savings to the project. There is, however, the extra expense of there not being utilities on the street yet. But that's where we're really hoping this second $500,000 housing choice grant would be to bring the water down the road.
Are there any long-term plans then for other businesses or other kinds of places being sited out there now that there'll be utilities?
So I couldn't speak to that. That would be a better question for the Economic and Community Development or the town manager or the select board, about whether they would like to see additional uses of the town-owned land out there. It's about 75 acres, and it abuts, that is currently under the control of the DPW. They're giving us 3 acres there in the front corner. And then the DPW also has another 50 acres in that area. So that is above my expertise to comment on, but yeah, I think that's.
To that question, the town doesn't control or own all the land down on Bishop Road. The airport and a lot of the land as you're going west off to the right is under the control of Devon's and the Army, so.
It's a great question. Yes.
Hi. One of the things that I keep coming back to is the heating and cooling space.
Yes.
Do we have anything in town that does that now? Is there any place that people can go to for environmental or climate?
So that's a great question. So the only space in town right now that is designated as a heating or cooling center, and for those that might not be familiar what I mean, that is both literally in terms of if there's a power outage in town, but it's also utilized during extreme heat or extreme cold when people's home utility systems can't keep up or they can't afford to have them keep up during those periods of time. So people come in as a warming or cooling station in extreme heats. So the only place that the town has right now that it can open from, I think I've seen it open twice in the 4 years I've been here maybe, is the conference room at the police station. And so for a lot of people, that's not a very comfortable place to go. And so this would allow the entire senior center and all the amenities of the senior center space to, spread out, do your thing during extreme weather as well.
Thank you.
Can you mention the budget for the project includes $198,000 for emergency generators, so that's in that budget as well. So that's what makes the building usable in any kind of conditions, even if power fails in the town. So we discussed this at private.
That's a huge thing to promote. That's a huge.
Yeah, so we discussed this along the way. Should we make the generator an option, or we should make it part of the building? We pretty much decided the generator will be included in the price. So, which means we have to do that extra electrical, the switches and everything that's involved with transferring the power. So there's a lot of extra engineering, a lot of extra design in the electrical portion just to accommodate the generator, the whole works. So yes, that's important.
Okay, is there any, I know you said that it was something you had to check on, but is there any reason not to call it the Air Center or the Air Active Living Center or not the senior center?
So that's a good question. It was, why is it the Air Senior Center? It may or may not open as the Air Senior Center. It needs to be a senior center for a specific funding line of the CDBG grant. It can't be a community center, it needs to be a senior center to get that funding line. But from the time we started 2 years ago to now, the National Council on Aging as well as the Massachusetts Councils on Aging and the Executive Office of Aging and Independence have all renamed themselves. They have all gone through a little bit of a shift where we're no longer using the term senior. Sometimes I catch myself, I try to replace it with older adults is the new term. So it does make sense that it may not make sense to name it the Air Senior Center. And yet when we're talking about a new senior center, it seems to be the term that right now in the moment people understand the most. And so I think we just felt if we started calling it the Air Older Adult Center,
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
it might not resonate. So,
But I mean, a lot of towns have changed to active living center
Right.
or just
Right.
the center, like
Yep.
Groton is the Groton Center, you know. I just thought it would be more desirable for young people to look at it as having other,
definitely.
organizations.
Yes.
This is a very basic question, and I wonder what senior is. I mean, I go to the Westford Senior Center at Cameron, I forget what they call it, Cameron Center for a particular exercise class. And their center is 55 plus. So when I was 60, I felt you had to be 60 for this program. So when I turned 60, just a couple of years ago, I felt okay about going because, well, people were 55, you know, and
Right,
going,
right.
you know, so that was it. So I don't know what the Air Senior Center is, but, you know, people turn 55 before they turn anything else.
Right, that is very true. So I like to jokingly say we're not carding anybody at the door. So
But you're not encouraging.
right, the state of Massachusetts defines older adults as 60 plus.
Okay.
I would say to you or to any older adult, if you find yourself 55 and having the good fortune of being available to attend our programs, we would love to have you join us.
I guess I just mean that it's different from a promotional point of view.
Yeah.
It includes more if you say 55.
Right.
And I don't know that you're going to get many 55s.
Well, right now, we can't even accommodate our 60 plus.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you know, maybe in the new building,
Right.
that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to, my name is Ken Diskin, I'm on the committee with Katie, but I want to go back to the utility question. And it's always been important to me to let people know that from the beginning, the selectmen put the superintendent of the DPW, Dan Viskelp, on this committee. So Dan has been with us from the very beginning, and he's been a big resource in helping us with the utilities. So the DPW engineering department has actually designed the water system down the street. We didn't have to go out to pay another engineer to design the installation and design of the water to the site. So we save that engineering cost because they offered to do it. So we have a set of drawings ready to bid for that water right now. So the point is, if we get that grant, we will go out to bid. Even before we bid the senior center itself, we'll bid the water line separately. And so he carried a budget to cover the cost of that water line and helped us design that water. Well, he didn't help us, he did it. His department did it. So that water line will basically go from Park Street right at the corner and be an improvement all the way to the senior center location. So that's kind of a separate part of this. It's part of our project, it's part of the project cost, but it's basically an improvement the town is helping us engineer, and we're going to bid it separately. So that'll go out as soon as this, hopefully we get to town meeting. Between now and town meeting, we hope to win that $500,000 grant, because that grant is actually phase 2 of the grant that we already won. The $300,000 grant at the top, the council housing choice grant, we won it right after 2023, like in the winter of 23 to 24. And this is the second part of that same original grant. So they applied for it in April. The town applied for it in April. Dan Viskelp in Town Hall applied for it in April. And the notification date is coming up in October across the state for all those types of grants. So we hope to know before town meeting that we have that grant in place. Then we can actually go out and get the water bid while we're designing the rest of the building and nail that cost down. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Any other questions? Well, I would encourage you to go visit ayerseniorcenter.com where you can find some more information about the project. And on that page is a contact button. And so if you fill out the contact form, it comes directly to me. So feel free to ask any follow-up questions that way or drop by the senior center. So thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it.
I'd like to ask a question. I wanted to know what you all thought of the idea of the video. You know, some people weren't sure it would work, but we know there's a lot of people in town who haven't been to the senior center, and we wanted to give them an idea of the size and, you know, how tight things are. Did you think that that works?
Yeah.
That's helpful. Good. Well, we're still editing it and putting music in. And the quotes that you saw, the actual interviews with those people will be a part of that. So it will continue to evolve. But thank you.
All right. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.